Today I'm going to talk about the big ones, which are the ones that I think could really explode on Vivi. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the collectibles or comics on Vivi that I think could really explode. Like I mentioned, I don't normally do that for a lot of reasons. But I think you gotta try to sometimes, take some swings at some home runs. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that today. And I always do put this thing at the bottom that this is not financial advice, but this particular one is definitely not financial advice. It's my own thoughts on it, and you'll get, some of my thinking behind some of the things that I buy, and ones that I think and some of my criteria for what it could be for something that could go really big. So let's talk about it. So when you're looking for something to go big, it's this kind of combination of a perfect storm. Really, it's you want to see, scarcity, so, low mint, and then just really high demand. And then, of course, looking into the future, are there going to be multiple catalysts that keep it going, keep it pumping? So I'll talk a little bit about some of the ones that have gone, and then in the end, I'll talk about, I think there's actually only two really right now that you could go for, or I would be willing to go for. So, I mean, there's the really expensive ones, and they're scarce, like the movie tickets or the Aston Martin Secret Rare. There's only 7 of those. So those have kind of fallen into some big whales' hands, and they can there's so few of them, they can demand really whatever price they want. So I've kind of taken those out. Then you've kind of got the ones that have been around for a while, like the Donnies of the world. They definitely fall into this category because they give you such OG status, and they're really expensive, and there's very few of them. Donnies, only 150 of those. I wasn't around for those, so I didn't see those disappear, but for as long as I've been around, for about a year and a half, those have just been, really outside of the reach of most normal people. Let's talk about some of the other ones that people like, which I still like. And once again, as always, buy stuff that you like. It doesn't matter. But I think maybe at a cheaper price they were good ones, but now they've gone up in value. Not that they couldn't continue to go up in value and times 5, times 10 from here, but that would be like Todd or the Partner statue. Some of the other ones, even to a certain degree, Secret Rare Spider-Man Peter Parker. They've already had their big jump. There's, in the case of Todd, there's 7,500. That's a lot of mints, especially in the environment we're in now. Not that we hope that will attract more users, but it's going to be a while. And so I still think that when you're buying Todd at 1,000, you need a lot to happen for that to continue to grow. And Secret Rare Spider-Man, there's 1,000 of those, which isn't that many when you think about the IP, but still, it's already way up there in the thousands and thousands of dollars. So not that it can't double, triple, or go up, but it's a spendy one. Another one that just had a big pump over the last week or so is Miles Morales, and this is getting towards what I like though. Huge IP. Still a lot of people in the world don't know Miles, so there's a lot of upside. Only 160 publicly available, and that's the key. You're looking for this extremely low mint, super high demand, and Miles meets that criteria. Obviously, we're seeing some of that increase the price right now. And then the last thing I always will say is, what is going to continually push this thing? And so there's going to be movies. Obviously, his second movie's coming out this summer. We think eventually he'll make his way into the MCU. There's video games. So you're going to get this push year after year for that particular collectible, and that's why I think that was a good one. That's why I got one of those right when it dropped. But that's where some of the independent artists, not that they aren't great, and not that I really like a lot of those pieces, but they don't have that continual marketing push. Not that they couldn't become larger and more well known that they already are. And I think Vivi helps them, right? But that's definitely something I think about. But for this discussion of this video, Miles is too expensive. It's already pumping to over 10K. Not that you couldn't get into it, but it's still pretty expensive at this point. So let's talk about some of the other ones that, from the comic perspective, and then I'll jump into the two. So the ones that also I think have a shot and it's getting closer, but this one's out of reach, would be AF-15 SR. Only 250, 225 publicly available, but it's expensive. Now, it is kind of near its all-time low. I think its all-time low might be around 9,000, something like that, 10,000. So it's closer to the low than it is the high, but it's one that is so iconic, and like I said, it meets this criteria where Spider-Man's going to get a push every 3 or 4 years with a movie and all these other stuff. And there's only 225 of them, but it's still really, really expensive. So the three, or the two that I want to talk about, is the first one, which is kind of in the mix, is Journey into Mystery 83 Secret Rare. So, it's around 1,100, maybe up to 1,500, kind of oscillates in that. But only 225. Thor is a big character. I think we're still going to see a lot more Thor. And now really a lot of people in the world, he's one of their favorite characters. So that's an interesting one to take a shot on. Very, very low mints, and kind of meet some of this criteria where Marvel is going to continue, and MCU is going to continue to push out content. But kind of, once again, has had its jump. The two that I looked at and I really like right now is the one that dropped today. And I did get an SR of that, which is Giant Size X-Men 1. Secret Rare. It's around, I think, 500 or 600 gems right now. It could fall. A lot of people are selling. And it meets all these criteria. But it is super low. So 188, but then after, the couple that Vivi takes, it might be 160 publicly available. It has all these first appearances of, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler. It's one of the best X-Men comics out there. Every X-Men fan wants this comic. It's got a great cover. So that one, I think, is one to look at. It's around 500 gems. Could it explode to thousands of gems? Yeah, I think it really could. I thought that's why I grabbed one. I might try and grab another. So that is one that I definitely would fall in that category. And then the other one, which is interesting, is the Vivi logo. Now, the Vivi logo is at around 3,000 gems right now. So that's kind of spendy, but it does meet some of these interesting criteria where I know there's 500, but there's a large amount that have been held back and given away already. Plus, a number of them have fallen into really what I would call Vivi OG users that are probably not going to sell it. It meets the criteria where David Yu is going to continue to, and the companies can continue to talk about this logo again and again. Every event, it's going to get this marketing push again and again. I know at 3,000 it's expensive, but really, since it's been locked up in a bunch of 3,000 gems, and there's 500, but I feel like there's not that many available because a lot of them have been locked up into these users that are, really, really passionate about Vivi. So there may be only 100 or 200 maybe available. So at 3,000, I think the Vivi logo could really, really, get up there really, really high, especially if there's a lot of utility that David Yu, and he's the one that kind of controls that, so he'll want to make it very, very valuable. So those are the ones that I've looked at. Now there's a bunch of others like that I like and that are relatively low mint. So one of them would be the D-Gen Dungeon poster. I really, really like that one. Another one that I really like is the Brett Crawford self-made, that wooden guy who's, who like built himself. I really, really like that one. That one only has, let me look, 250, so obviously they held back some of them. And there's some passionate people that already own that one that probably won't let it go. So that's another interesting one that, because it's just such low mint, but the problem with it, once again, is who's going to continually push that particular piece? I don't know. But maybe, and odd stuff does happen every now and then. One of these pieces just might catch on. Perhaps a celebrity buys one, something like that. So you never know. That could be huge. But that's what I got for you this week. When you're looking at things, always try and figure out perhaps if it's really, really low. Could this be one of those that really explodes? I always think about that. Take care. I'll talk to y'all soon.